It's your go, bro.
All right. How's everybody doing? Alan Roberts. What's your name again?
I'm Marc Lobliner, tigerfitness.com, just for the record.
Just for the record.
Yeah, and people got mad when I stopped doing that. When I was doing CEO, they're like, nah, man, what happened to the tigerfitness.com?
We don't even get the peck bump anymore.
Oh, we don't. Well, I'm trying to grow. Like, it's weird because I have kids.
Well, it's messed up because like we're always told. I'm sure me and you have gotten it more than just about anybody else. Like, when are you guys going to grow up? When are you guys going to grow up? Blah blah blah. Then we grow up and people are like, oh, you guys are so serious.
Yeah, I used to get. I was like, dude, you're like in your 30s. Now I'm in my 40s and I stopped doing it. People are like, bro, like, why'd you stop doing that? It's like, dude, you guys told me. Okay, maybe it was like 2 people, but I took them seriously.
Yeah, the 2 trolls that posted like you're immature as fuck. They hurt me.
If you don't think we're energetic enough, cracking open. We got these on Tiger Fitness, man. The Bubblicious, friggin' Ghost. This is amazing. Amazing.
The orange creamsicle one.
Oh, dude, but I think this is my favorite. The what is this? Bubblicious Strawberry Splash.
So before we get too far, the ADHD is taking us out.
Whoa. Today
we wanted to talk about how to start your way through watching your nutrition. We wanted to actually talk about progression when it comes to actually getting healthy. A lot of people start off very, very, very unhealthy. Most of you admit, even most of you that watch both of our channels got to admit.
In the fitness realm.
Even in the fitness realm, yeah. People just eat like shit. Like, oftentimes, the very first thing to do, like, I'm super serious right now. I'm ready to go. And then they're not ready to go because they would have to go from literally just eating like crap and treating their bodies horribly, even though they work out a couple times a week, to then all of a sudden now you're on 1,600 calories, watching your macros perfectly, when you can make good, solid progress to build up healthy habits off the beginning by just cleaning up your nutrition, looking for the occasional treat just for eating for pleasure versus having just almost every meal be bought just off the spur of the moment at the grocery or at the fast food. Like, if you just switch to just being mindful with your food and eating whole foods for the majority of what you eat, that will be the start you need. You'll start feeling better. Focus on your hydration. Most people are radically underhydrated. It doesn't get to the point where you need to start working on getting focused for at least a couple months. That way, once you get your weight down a little bit, you can start moving around a little bit more. Then you can, progress into watching macros, which is what Marc has an extensive history of helping people watch. It's habit first, and then you start fine tuning. People just jump into it, don't you think?
So here's the thing. I have this client. He's phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. This guy came in. He owns a chain of restaurants. So obviously he's around good food, and we ate that food last night. And oh my Lord, Cole Town Public House in Franklin, Tennessee, in West Haven. It was, Chris Jones was there. It was rated GAF.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought about 30 of them meals.
Yeah, you did, actually.
Yes, I actually did. Counting dessert and appetizer, I think we're at least around 15.
Yeah.
So, anywho, this gentleman came in. He's like, I want to get in shape. I want to live a long life. And so I'm like, cool. So I'm like, let's just start training 2 times a week. And when you start training, it's funny because you inadvertently start eating better usually. A lot of people do. There's data on this. Some people don't. So I'm sure he doesn't mind me talking about this. If he does, I apologize. But for him, like most males, he enjoys a nice cold cerveza here and there, right? So first thing we did, I had him send me, we train only twice a week with weights. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we did is I'm like, I want you to take 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And I want you to simply stop drinking alcohol. We lost on that alone 20 pounds in literally like 6 weeks because and he's not obese. He's overweight. He's overweight. He's not obese. So I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Then we hit a stick point. So I'm like, send me what you eat every single day. So let's say one day he's like, oh, well, I had some tortilla chips because he owns some Mexican restaurants, right? And I'm like, okay, just eat the taco, but don't eat the tortilla chips. Okay. So simple things. The other night he ate pizza and his weight stayed the same. I'm like, oh, it still looks like you controlled your diet. You ate a good breakfast and lunch. You know what? Let's go ahead and just enjoy that pizza, but don't do it every night. He's like, yeah, it was great. My family enjoyed it.
That's another thing, too. We've had couple comments, by the way.
Yeah, we give free pizza.
Because we gave away free pizza at this event we did on Friday night, which if you weren't there and you were in the Franklin area, you missed out.
Oh, my God.
We're doing a lot more of them. It's time for us to bring the world back. Like, we need to start communicating as people.
Saving the world one gym at a time.
But we had people give us, like, kind of shit because we had free pizza. As if, like, well, you're a weight loss coach. It's not like... I don't eat pizza because of the gluten. Otherwise, I'd eat pizza every now and then. I have ice cream probably once every other week. I have something once a week just to make sure I'm not feeling too restricted. Like, that's a huge problem. Most of you guys are not Marc Lobliner, or most of you guys are not a professional bodybuilder. If you were literally to the point where you need to watch every little gram of everything you did, then that's a different story. And most of you would not want to do that. I mean, like,
no, it sucks.
Most of you would not want to do that. Having an item once a week, just for pleasure, pizza or something like that, as long as it's not something that causes you to binge all day long or all week long. Oftentimes I suggest people like that they're going to have an item for pleasure one night. Make sure you know where your food is coming from the next day. Make sure you're procured, especially like a high protein, high healthy fat diet, eggs, steak and eggs in the morning. Perfect. You know, like, people are overcomplicating this on purpose to the point. Like, this needs to happen in stages. Most people in society right now are very unhealthy. We need to actually get this to the point where it's bit by bit, you kind of change stuff up. You want to start getting focused and all of a sudden get to the gym and get quads like the size of my waist like he has. That starts with you just starting to control the basic shit first.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Now you look at for this client of mine, right? And I do offer in-person coaching at Carbon Performance. You can DM me on Instagram for info on that. Also at marclobliner.com, my coaching. He has coaching obviously as well. At
The Damn Collective.
The Damn Collective?
Damn Collective.
Damn Collective. Okay. So let's say this client of mine, he's hit a stick point where these little changes for a couple weeks aren't doing anything. That's when you need to progress. The progression would be, for me, it's either a meal plan, which I use a diabetic exchange-based meal plan. Now, to explain the diabetic exchange, which you're very familiar with because you have a lot of clients with diabetes, diabetic exchange is basically protein sources are assigned a value, carb sources of value, and fat sources of value. It's basically Weight Watchers without the weirdness, right? Yeah. And you're able to interchange chicken, lean beef, fish, whatever. So the diabetic exchange I like a lot for a lot of purposes because you make your meals in advance. So for people who are regimented, who pack their lunch to work, who like eating the same things, right. And it's been found, believe it or not, I've seen data that older males who are fit, most of them, a majority of them actually eat the same foods most meals.
Right.
So very few times are fit people venturing off and just having a burrito. It's just what they do because they're regimented, going to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. They take their protein shake, they eat their lunch, they eat their snack, they eat their dinner, very regimented. And maybe they come off plan once a week on a Saturday or Sunday. So you have this situation where the meal plan is great, but also macros where you could use like the Tiger Fitness app, which is linked in my description box, where you're able to, as you go, let's say you go to Chipotle, you go online and you get their macros, you type them in, boom. So you count as you go, or you set it up in advance. So you can pretty much eat whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
And it just is macros. You have protein, carbs, and fat. That's another way. I don't even use calories because macros equal calories. Right. That's just confusing. So that would be step 2. So once you get past we're making adjustments and simple lifestyle changes, then as you go, I have my clients personally check in every day. Most coaches are a week. I'm just very anal retentive about stuff and I'm very proud. I love anal. So anyway, you get, I'm sorry, no, I lost track. So you get in that zone.
Diabetic exchange.
Yeah, I like diabetic exchange personally. It's my preference, but a lot of clients I have either way, if you're adjusting. So every day I have my clients send in the weight. I take that weight and I chart it. And if they're not noticing consistent fat loss of 1 to 2 pounds a week, we adjust. We might adjust daily. We might adjust weekly. We might adjust monthly, but I get that check-in and I get weekly pictures. And that is the progression from the thing that Alan has talked about. I don't recommend people come in from sedentary living and not counting any food to just going full on neurotic, right?
Well, a huge point that you just pointed out, like most people that go to the gym every day, especially, which is like our clientele is very different. We're actually trying to think about a way to kind of do an interesting transition to show people what it would look like.
Oh, we have a way. He's lying. We totally know the way. We just have to run it by Sean.
Yeah, you guys will love it. But the idea is when it gets to the point where you were talking about people that are in shape, they're eating foods that they like every day too. It's not like you hate the food. I think that's a huge problem too, where people like my people are like, well, should I start eating broccoli and chicken? I'm like, do you like broccoli and chicken? What the fuck? You know, like because if you like it, of course you should eat it. It's a healthy food. Find the healthy foods you like to eat and eat them. You're going to find that most bodybuilders like their broccoli and chicken. Very few bodybuilders don't like what they eat until it's like right at prep time, like right in the last.
But then you just hate life.
But then it's like everything.
And I guarantee you 99.999999997% of people watching this have no intention of ever getting on stage, nor should you. Right. Nor do I. I'm retired from that. So you just have to look at, for me, like you've been with me for a few days now, and probably 60% of my food is 2 scoops of MTS Whey made into a sludge with either banana or berries in it. Why? Because I like MTS Whey with banana and berry. That doesn't mean you can't have chicken and broccoli or chicken and some kind of a carb source like a sweet potato or rice. That doesn't mean that. What it means is that if I have the choice of the two, I like both. And I'll eat both. And I always keep salmon cooked. I always keep beef cooked. I always keep chicken cooked. We never run out of food in this house. And that's another thing. Plan ahead. Make sure you have healthy food options. Because we talked about this earlier, and there's a whole nother video. But just to allude to it, you know, the fact of the matter is, it takes, you said earlier, 10 minutes for the drive-through?
Yeah.
I just get the chicken tenderloin from Costco. It's $3.60 a pound. That's cheap as fuck. Right? For fucking Costco. And then I just put it all on a tray and I pour some seasoning on it, throw it on the Traeger for 35 minutes, and I have enough chicken for most people to last over a week. So you freeze half and you refrigerate half, and then after 2 days, you take it out of the freezer, and as it thaws, it's ready in perfect time. You have chicken. Rice is cheap. My hint, and I've done videos on this, don't cook it with water for your liquid source. Cook it with bone broth for the extra nutrients, for the extra electrolytes. Cook it in that. Boom. You got chicken and rice. And then throw in some frozen veggies. Just get the mixed bag of veggies. It's like $2 for a fucking 12-pound gallon of it, like container of it. So all those meals are cheaper than any unhealthy processed shit you could buy. It's cheaper than Wendy's, cheaper than McDonald's, and I'm not going to say anything about Chick-fil-A because it's the Lord's chicken sandwich.
It's the Lord's chicken.
Yes. Yeah, they're closed today, those fuckers.
Because it's the Lord's day. I've been told this. I don't know.
Did you see that joke? They had this guy post it like, I'm going to open a food truck in the Chick-fil-A parking lot and only open on Sundays and call it Side Chick.
Oh, so fucking good.
That was so good.
So good.
That was a dad joke.
The other thing, though, if it's not Chick-fil-A, because apparently I don't know if we're getting paid from Chick-fil-A. I don't think we are because
I love Chick-fil-A.
I'm an atheist and he's a
Have you eaten their grilled chicken nuggets, the grilled? Oh, they put like the Lord's seasoning on it.
It's the Lord's seasoning.
Do you know what they do? And I do this sometimes when I have time. So ADHD. You know what their marinade is?
What?
Pickle juice and milk.
I can see that.
Because it tenderizes the pickle juice and the milk.
Enzymes in the milk.
Yeah. What are we doing?
I don't know. But listen, besides Chick-fil-A, okay, if you are finding an excuse to go to McDonald's every day, because that's what it is, you're finding an excuse. You will find that somewhere in your life you are creating a difficulty that causes it. You don't have the time. That therefore you are making an excuse to go to fast food. In almost every fast food parking lot, they share it with some sort of supermarket or some sort of food store. Go in, buy their produce section. Normally right by the produce section is their deli or meat section. They normally have rotisserie chicken or pre-made sliced beef or even pre-made chicken that you can pick up, and then a veggie tray with it. You've spent probably less money than you would spend if you went to the drive-thru. You probably waited in less time because you found a way to make sure you're short on time, meaning you're running late. So then you sit in the drive-thru for another 20 minutes because everybody has found a way to run late. And so you're just better off going into the grocery store, going through the self-checkout, grabbing a rotisserie chicken, some vegetables, and then you're got it. Now, I know you're going to be like, oh, well, the sodium, this and that. It's like finding the little excuses, which is, for me, it's a big difference from your coaching. Your coaching is the details. My coaching is, we just need to get you to the basics of this. Like, just change a little bit of what you eat. Change your lifestyle a little bit. What you heard Marc list off all his food? You didn't hear a whole lot of processed carbohydrates in there at all.
No. I mean, I do eat about 3 to 4 outright bars a day because I love them and because they fill my macros, which are pretty high. But it's basically peanut butter, honey, and whey protein isolate is the base. And then about 2% of it is the cool stuff that tastes really good.
And honey isn't even honey is not even a processed added sugar. It's
natural sugar. Diabetic friendly.
It's diabetic friendly.
And so people are like, it's sugar. I'm like, sugar's not diabetic friendly, douchey. Yeah. So So on that note,
and by the way, for the 3 bars, if you're wondering, Marc burns probably like 7,000 calories a fucking day. Being here, just watching him is exhausting. So you're not Marc Lobliner. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, don't compare yourself to the bodybuilders when you're just starting out. If you want to be a bodybuilder, that's great, but gradual progress.
I watched Chris Jones eat 10,000 calories in one sitting.
Jesus Christ,
and he's still leaner than everybody watching this video. There's a genetic component too, and most people who are overweight don't have the genetics.
Right.
You just don't. So and you can't do anything about it. Like, when people are like, well, you're lean because of your genetics. I'm like, partially, but I've also been doing this. I was 295 pounds at one point. I prime my body to do this. Well, it's the steroids. I mean, HRT does help, but I guarantee I see a lot of fat people on HRT.
Well, the genetics things is just, I'm sorry, people, it's just an excuse. Because say it is. And we've heard all sorts of arguments about this before. Is obesity a choice? I believe Jeff Napard did something, then he went back and forth with the fucking troll, the fucking Niago guy, Greg, and then back and forth of whether obesity is a choice because people have different NEAT. Like me and you have a high level of NEAT. We're standing right now. We both jitter constantly. Mm-hmm. You know, like we have a high level of energy expenditure when we're not working out. And then, you know, there's just basal metabolic rate, stuff like that. So say my NEAT or it's like Marc's NEAT is, say, 1,000 calories higher than even mine. That doesn't mean like I just give the fuck up and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be fat. That means I have to make adjustments. He gets to eat more than me. Fucking sucks to be me. I should buy a helmet. Life sucks. You know, like what the fuck? But like it's this weird scenario where just because genetics is used as an excuse a lot of times for a lot of things. When it comes to your health, it's your responsibility, and whether somebody has better genetics than you or not, that doesn't affect you in your actions at all.
What the fuck are you gonna do about it? Yeah, you just gotta fucking roll with what God gave you, right? Or what the universe gave you, whatever your belief system is.
They're not gonna lower the basketball hoop for you so you can play with Jordan.
They did make the ball smaller and the lines closer in the WNBA though.
Well, the WNBA.
No, nobody knows that. Here's nobody watches it anyway. But anyway, so that's a long version of it. So basically, don't start out guns a-blazing. Ease into it. Start with the pinky, and basically just roll into it. Start with the pinky. Some people will get that, and if you do get it, you're a sick bastard.
Start with the pinky.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, you can find Alan at
Alan Robertson, the MFing COO.
And of course, tigerfitness.com is our site. You can buy, it's a site we sell stuff, ambrosiacollective.com. A lot of times, like when No Morbidity comes back in, it'll be at ambrosiacollective.com first because it's obviously it's our company, and that's where it is first. But tigerfitness.com, which is the retail store, you can buy everything you want there, from outright bars to protein powders to whatever. But, those are our sites, tigerfitness.com, ambrosiacollective.com. Appreciate you guys watching. Do I close it?
Goddamn.
That's not a game.
Look, bro, Ambrosia's Kinetic is back in stock. This is the only mushroom pre-workout on the market, and literally this is all you need.
Don't need it. I just get mushrooms from the grocery store.
The type of mushrooms that I'm talking about, you can't buy in the grocery store. You need a shaman. Nah, but seriously though, reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane, they do so many things. Antioxidants, not to mention the raw power that you're gonna get from the creatine. You're not gonna get this with that.
I don't eat creatine. I just eat steak.
So you'll need a few pounds of steak for the amount of creatine that we put in here.
It's all right, bro. I like steak.
Listen, man, the type of focus that you get from the ginseng, the neurofactor, the coffee bean, you're not getting that without Kinetic.
I get all the energy I need from coffee.
That's not enough caffeine. You're not going to get the same energy.
For energy, I get white powder right here.
You've lost your mind, but I still love you. Let's go train. I don't care what you're saying. We're taking Kinetic. This is all we need. Let's get out of here.